Hi everyone. As you may or may not know, I've been a member of the colouring community, I'd say for the past 2.5, 3 years. And now I've just been asked to make videos to show you how I colour and obviously introduce myself. So at the moment I'm just doing tests just to see how it goes. Anyway, these are the books that I started off with, all Mili Marottas. I actually picked up, I'm not sure which one was my first one, but I got them from Aldi's. I think they were in the special buys for about £3 at one point. And from then on I just bought a cheap set of fine liners, a cheap set of coloured pencils, and off I went. So just obviously want to show you some of my work out of these books that I've obviously had for quite a while. I haven't really done as much in any of my books as I'd like to, due to obviously work commitments and family time. But I do try and keep my hand in when I can, and obviously pick up my books and my pencils, etc. When my daughter's in bed, or at the moment when she's at school. So anyways, without further ado, I think we shall get started. So my very first picture that I coloured was in Curious Creatures, and it was this beaver. As you can see, it's not very detailed and the colours don't go together very well, but as I say, this was my very first attempt at adult colouring, and here I just used the cheap fine liner pens. Obviously I'm going to find it difficult to do these in any particular order, as I'm not sure, I haven't dated all my pictures when I coloured them, but I just know that this was my very first attempt. I don't think it's bad, just obviously I have progressed from there, and you know, I still like all the bright colours, etc. So here we go, here's another one I did. This was for if I remember rightly, this was for a Valentine's event, hence the additions of the love hearts up the top there. For this one I think I used chameleon coloured pencils, and I used some metallic paint, just metallic watercolour paint. Don't know if you can see that in the sunshine. Well, there we go. And there's obviously the addition of gel pen, etc. for a few highlights. Oh, I've missed one there. This one was also for a Valentine's event, a February event, and I thought, oh, Mr. and Mrs. Mantis, and again I've added a love heart up the top there, and I sort of did the leaves. I thought, oh, they were getting married, and there was confetti there. I think I used my Polychromos pencils for that. So I really like that one. The pink and the green really popped together. So then here's another one, and this was for a Halloween event. So obviously used the oranges and the purples. I really can't remember what I used on that one, to be honest. It looks like I did some sort of watercolour on the background, but I honestly can't remember what colours it was I used, what tools it was I used there. This one was the manta rays. I think this was for a challenge where you had to do grey, but with a hint of colour, and so that's what that one was. And I know I used watercolour pencils for that one. Penguin. Again, I'm not sure whether this was for a challenge. I think a black and white challenge, with a hint of colour possibly. And he was fun to do because I had to try and figure out how to colour the white. I just sort of did a couple of grey sort of shading and really light blue. I don't know if it shows up well on the camera, but you can certainly see it when you're looking at the book in real life. I think he used Polychromos for that one. This was one that I did. I had fun with this one. Lots of different blending techniques I was trying out on that one, and this was when I first got my Mako Raffines. This was the first picture I coloured with them. So like I say, tried all different shadings and blendings to get this nice bright sea urchins that you see there. So this one was a double. Again, this was for a challenge in a Facebook group, in Millie's Facebook group actually, that I've joined. I haven't actually been on there for quite a while. I really need to get back to it. But this one was to colour a page in pencil and colour a page in pen. So I thought I'd do both of those just as a comparison, just to see how, you know, my techniques etc are different with each medium. And again, this was done a while ago, so obviously my blending and my shading with my pencils isn't the best, but like I say, it still makes a lovely colourful image. This one I absolutely adore. This was my first time doing a black background. Again, this was for a challenge in the Facebook group to do neon colours, and I thought, what better way to do neon colours than on a black background, and it'll just pop. And I also added some glittery bubbles. Again, I don't know if the camera's picking that up very well. I used that with stickles. So that's one of my favourite pages, I think, out of these books. That's all out of that one. So Animal Kingdom. I don't know how many I've done in here. Oops. Oh, right. This was my Dragonfly. This was for a pink and yellow challenge, I think it was. So, and here I've tried a technique with the wings that I saw on Colouring Chat with Sammy's channel, where you sort of try and make the wings sort of iridescent. Again, I don't know if you can see the lights, not very great in here today. But that was my first attempt at iridescent wings, using Posca and I think it was the Jelly Roll Glaze pen or Glossy Accents. It was one of those, but that was fun to do. It turned out quite alright, no complaints about it. So next one is my owl. Again, this was one of the ones I did more or less at the beginning of my colouring journey, with just the fine liners. I asked my daughter to pick colours, and she came up with purple and pink, so I had to do a purple and pink owl. I think it turned out quite okay. This is just, I think this is the wrong tone or the wrong shade for the whole of the image. Puts it off a tiny bit in my opinion, but nevertheless it's still a lovely image. And again, this was a challenge to do. I think you had to do one in really bright vivid colours, which I think I've achieved that, and then the the other one in just 3 colours of your choosing. And again, I did that one in pen, fine liners, neons, etc., and that one in pencil. Again, I think that was Marco Rafine's. I'm not sure what type of pens, whether that was just the fine liners, possibly. And my tortoise, he was one of my very first ones as well that I did out of here. I used Staedtler Norris pencils for those, for this. Those were my very first pencils that I owned. But I couldn't go back to using them, I don't think, now. They're very, very hard, and you have to sort of really, really work at getting, there's not much pigment in them, so you have to really, really work at getting the pigment out of the pencils. And this one was a fun challenge. You had to do sort of a summary picture. So here I did a pink and purple donkey, and I did a Kiss Me Quick hat, just for something you'd see on the beach, basically. So again, I've just kept that quite simple. I think I used the Faber-Castell Classic pencils for that one. This one we had to do a Christmassy picture, so hence I've added the baubles in, because I thought, oh, this look could do like a wreath. So I did like a string of Christmas lights as well, and the baubles. Oh, there we go, that's the Christmas picture. I think I did that all in polychromos. And this one again was an early one I did with Marco Rafine's, which I really like as well. Bright colours. I think you can see from that one that my shading and my blending is coming along. So just this one I really love as well. This was like, we had to do a picture with an autumn feel, an autumn palette. And this was the very first picture that I did where I used my polychromos pencils. So again, I'm quite proud of this one. I love the way this one's turned out, and especially I don't know if you can see the little mouse in the middle there. I think he's really cute. And then my last one out of this book is Sammy the Rainbow Snail. Now I had to do, I think this was one for Pride Month, and every time I saw this snail, I thought, I want to do it like Sammy the Rainbow Snail. It's actually a children's book that my daughter has, and it's such fun. So like I say, I thought, yes, well, this picture snail, I need to do it like Sammy. And of course Pride was the ideal opportunity to get that done. So that was Animal Kingdom. Beautiful birds and treetop treasures. It looks like I've done 3 in here. Not very many, to be honest. Done the grey peacock. Actually used a photo reference for this one because I wasn't even sure. I'd never even heard of this type of bird before. So I thought, oh, better do something about it. So I looked at photographic references, and they are quite pretty. Just the grey, but then with all the splash of colours and the feathers. So he's turned out quite okay. The next one was Squirrel. I think I did this for, again, I think it was don't know if it was a fiery challenge or an autumn challenge again. You could only use red and orange and yellow. I think I used Artezas on that one. One of the very first times I used my Artezas. I think he's come out really cute and bright. This ibis, I think you had to do in the colours of a local football team to your hometown. And I'm So it's actually called a scarlet ibis, I think. So I had to pick a picture that would use the colours of the football team. Obviously you'll notice in a lot of these pictures I am a bit of a stickler for trying to get things to look as realistic as possible can, with all the, well, I wouldn't say correct colours, but colours that they have in nature most of the time. Whereas when I first started my colouring journey, it was just like, nah, anything goes, anything goes, anything goes. But now the more I get on my journey, I am a bit OCD in the fact that, I do like things to have a bit of realism about them, unless it is a specific, fantastical picture, if you like. This one, I really like this one as well. This was my first try with Prismacolors. What I did, I saw something on Colour with Clay for, I think it was the Coloured Pencil Shop or Artist Pencils Online or something like that, and they sort of did a deal and you could buy, I think it was about 20 pencils for about £15 at the time or something like that, just to try them out. And obviously, which I did and liked them, so now consequently I've got the whole set of Prismas. But that was my first picture done with Prismas. And then the last picture out of here was my frog mandala. This was quite intricate for me to do. It did take a while. I did this with W.H. Smith pencils, and again found those quite hard in these books. You had to sort of work at them a lot to get the pigment out, but yeah, that one turned out okay as well. So Tropical Wonderland, I think I've done most in here. There's quite a lot of tags sitting there. So here's the first one. This was my jellies. This was the very first picture that I used my Marco Raffines on. And again, I really liked it. I like the contrast of the pink and the blue. And obviously my shading, it's getting better again. Like I say, you've just got to work at the blending and the blending and the shading. You do get there eventually, believe me. And done hummingbirds. This is quite a lovely bright picture again. Again, I can't remember what pencils I used on there, to be honest with you. It was a long time ago. Again, this is one of my favourites as well. This was the first time I played about with watercolour pencils in this book. Well, first time ever with watercolour pencils. But again, we had to do it like an autumnal palette. I think I've sort of did that justice as to like an autumnal palette, and like I say, it was one of my first attempts with watercolours. I was quite happy with that, especially with the blending of them. Managed to get the blends. I've done the crab. Yeah, I'm not sure what pencils are used for that. I really should start writing things down and making a note of what I use on each page from now on. This was a double page. I know I used watercolours on this one, because obviously it's a sea creature. Again, that's something I have in my head. Anything to do with the sea, I need to do it in watercolours if I can. Obviously, I don't know. It's just me. Silly me. And then I did a lemur. I think this was for a Mad March challenge, and you just did anything went basically. And again, just any bright colours, anything like that, any medium, any bright colours. I really like how I managed to get his eyes looking quite realistic. I think they just sort of make him pop, make him look a little cutie. And then the last one out of here was the bugs. These were done in metallic pencils. Don't really show very well. Not really. To be honest, I didn't think much of them. Maybe because I was just using them on, you know, white paper in a book. I think, you know, if I could use them, find out how to use them a different way, then I might, you know, get a better result from them. But I do like that one as well. I do like the and I tried to make my bugs shiny, as you can see, using the metallics as well as trying to make them shiny with the shading. And then last but not least, we have Wild Savannah, and there's quite a few in here again that I've done. This was for a black and white challenge. I just thought one of these type of pictures would be easier for me to do rather than a whole scene. Try and make a whole scene black and white. But he was quite good to do. This one was my first time using Staedtler Ergosoft pencils. And again, playing about with blending and shading, and I even got a blender pencil. I think that was my first time with the blender pencil as well. But I did find it scratchy at first to use. I don't know if it's just this paper or this book, but again, it was a bit scratchy. The crocodile alligator, again I think I used my Ergosofts on this one. Again, just trying the blending and the shading to try and get him to look a bit realistic. Iguana, he's quite, he pops off the page with his yellow ruff. But yeah, I think that was for a challenge again. We could just use yellows and greens, or 3 colours, yellow, green and orange. I can't really remember. Again, it's a long time ago since I've coloured these in. This was one I did with my Ergosofts. Again, I looked up a reference picture online, and for a shrew, and this sort of colour combination came up, and I thought, bam, this is what I'm going to have to do, because it's so striking and stunning. So yeah, so I quite like him too. He's one of my favourites as well. And then my little deer, this was for a Christmas event, hence the red nose, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. This was done in my Prismacolors. I think the first time I got my full set of Prismacolors, and I used it there. So again, yeah, he's a wee cutie. This one, it was done in my cheap fine liners, sort of in the first steps of my colouring journey. Obviously it's lovely and bright, and the colours sort of go well together. However, it has, didn't realise at the time, but it has bled through. So if I need to try and fix those 2 pages. But like I say, I don't think, it did take me an absolute age to do, because obviously the scales and trying to work out the colour combinations, etc. But again, I think it worked out okay. To say it was one of my my first attempts at the colouring. This one, mandala, I think this was done for a springtime palette, I think. So again, I sort of find I'm not usually keen on colouring mandalas, but I do find, you know, that if you get a specific palette to work with, and you can't find a picture to match up to it, that, you know, a mandala is always a kind of go-to thing. You can always work it out with a mandala. So yeah, so those are all my Mili Marotta books that I've coloured in, all my Mili Marotta pictures. I will go and get some of my other books, and we'll go through them again. So I will speak to you all soon. So take care and bye for now.